Alrighty, so the final game from the Sunday action of match week number 25 have just concluded, which means it's time to do the review of looking at these four games that happened on Sunday. And we'll start off with the early game between Montreal and the Chicago Fire. And Montreal, after seeing a lot of the team around them, were able to get win. They know that they had to get a win if they want to keep pace with teams around them in the playoff race in the Eastern Conference. And they did. They got a 2-0 win against the Chicago Fire, although it was kind of a game of two halves where I thought the Fire actually were the better team in the first half. Because besides the opportunity in the 12th minute where Wanyama hits it while on the free kick, Pentemis had to make a save to deny Pineda, who had a free header in the 18th minute, and then denied Sajanovic, who teased one up from 18 yards out. And you can definitely see the Fire was pushing for the opener of this game. Camacho then cleared the ball off of the line. I didn't exactly see which Fire player that hits that one away, but Camacho had to clear that one off the line. And despite the fact that the Fire had a lot of opportunity to get the opening goal, we had to halftime 0-0 between both of these teams. And the second half, Montreal no doubt started the second half as the better side as they kind of started to control the possession in the second half. 57 minutes in, Kyoto tried to tap one in from close range but missed one. Before at the hour mark, he would score from Mihajlovic to give Montreal a 1-0 lead. This is not the first time we've seen this combination between Kyoto and Mihajlovic. That has been a really deadly combination for this Montreal side, and here we are, them at it again in terms of combining to score the opening goal of this game. It could have been 2-0 if it wasn't for Schronier hits it straight to Salania before Salania had to deny Kyoto his second goal, and then Humpty tried to follow up, but he puts that shot wide. Herberts then, in the 76th minute, thought that he scored the equalizer for the Fire, but the goal, of course, was disallowed for offside, and that was kind of maybe a little bit of a warning shot to Montreal that, as dominant as they were in the second half, the Fire almost scored against the run of play, and they had to make sure that they need to get the second goal to kill this game off, which they did. In the 80th minute, they made it 2-0, although it wasn't actually, their player that scored the second goal. It was an own goal by Carlos Tiran. I mean, this was a dangerous ball into the box, and anytime when the ball is in a dangerous area in the box, and especially it's crossing, it's basically no man's land if you're a defender. Like, you're in a very tough situation, and especially, I think it was also Humpty, the one that was ready to pounce on that one. Tiran had a difficult situation where he just had to get this right in terms of clearing this one away. He doesn't. He puts it into his own net to pretty much give all 3 points to Montreal. Could have been 3-0 if it wasn't for Salania denying Ibrahim in the 89th minute, but in the end, Montreal getting a big 3 points to stay above the red line, and I believe they're still in 6th place in the Eastern Conference with a 2-0 win against the Chicago Fire. As the shots in this one, 8 shots compared to 10 that the Fire has, 3 shots on goal compared to 5 that the Fire has, 3 shots off target compared to 2 that the Fire has, 2 shots that was blocked compared to 3 that the Fire has, and possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that the Chicago Fire has in this game. And while Montreal is definitely in a good spot to make the playoffs, that cannot be said about the Chicago Fire. Like, one win in this 6-game road trip that I said before, it's a vital road trip for the season, and when you only get one win out of the 6-game road trip, yeah, you are probably not going to do much in terms of the playoff race. And I feel like it was a couple of weeks ago that they really have fell out of the playoff race, and they're kind of now in that see you next season mode. But now, moving on, in terms of the next match, is a very controversial game between the Philadelphia Union versus Orlando City. And the reason why I say that is there was definitely some controversial call that we are definitely going to discuss in this review. But first of all, there was not much happening in the first 15 minutes of this game. The first shot came in the 17... Well, actually, this is not the first shot, but this was more like the first shot on goal came in the 17th minute when Shibilko header goes straight to Galese. And I thought both attacks just looked very poor in the opening bit. Like, both teams were just not doing good enough whenever they go on the attacking end. Though I will say that both defense was doing a good job in terms of shutting down both attacks so far in this one. Though the first big opportunity came at the half-hour mark when Flock blasted wide from a volley that, I even wrote that was probably the best look that we have seen anyone get up to that point. But then in the 39th minute, this is when the controversy began. Wagner, of course, scores from Burke to make it 1-0 in favor of the Union, but there was definitely a discussion of whether or not, if one, is that actually going to be a foul on Shibilko that led to this attacking sequence of play, and two, is that actually offside on Montero because of the fact that when that ball was coming into the box, it looked like Montero was in an offside position and it was in the path of that shot. And as I said before, you don't need to, of course, touch the ball, but if you're in the side of a shot and you're in an offside position, then yeah, you are of course going to be offside because you're basically influenced the way that the ball that shot was coming in. Now, obviously, the first big question was is that supposed to be a foul on Shibilko? Which, yes, it was supposed to be a foul on Shibilko, but the thing is, Orlando City was going on the attack, and I feel like the referee did the right decision in terms of playing advantage. But, I know some Orlando City fan might not be happy about that because maybe the referee should have stopped play up to that point. But again, if you play advantage and you don't take advantage of when the referee plays that, then it doesn't really quite matter. So we get to the next point, where is that of course indeed was offside on Montero, and I think when I look on the replay a couple of times, I feel like it should have been offside on Montero. Yes, it did. That shot did kind of took a deflection, but it really doesn't matter as long as you are in the direct play of the shot, which was clearly the case in this instant. Then yeah, that I feel like it should have been called offside. And this is also kind of what I said before, where I feel like the referee should have gone to VAR in this. He actually didn't go to VAR, but it was pretty clear that we can tell that after this goal was scored, there was a long delay where they was checking at VAR, which yeah, I think that's a good thing to do. But what needs to maybe done more is the center ref maybe should have just gone to the VAR screen to look at himself, because yeah, you want to of course let the people that's controlling VAR of course do the job, but if you're unsure, which I feel like the center ref was kind of unsure in this situation, then why not of course go to the screen to look at that. But either way, after that mess of a situation, they said the goal of course stand, and obviously again Orlando City fans were very upset about that, and I feel like they rightfully so were upset about that, because I feel like that goal probably should not have counted. But we do head to halftime with the Union controversially getting a 1-0 lead heading into the second half. Now in the second half, it was pretty clear that Orlando was so pissed off about that bad call that they want to make up for it by basically scoring the equalizer, because early on they had a lot of possession and they were definitely pushing for the equalizer, and they finally got it in the 57th minute as Juan scoring his for the second game in a row from Pereira to tie the game up at 1 apiece. But unfortunately, that equalizer would not last long, because 4 minutes later, Shibilko would score from Montero to retake the lead for the Union. But in the 74th minute, Blake was able to deny Urso on the header before Santos was actually in on goal, and he had a big opportunity to give the third goal for the Union, but he hits that one straight to Galese. Then in the 80th minute, here's another controversial moment happened in this game, where Galese only gets a yellow card, despite the fact that the Union clearly think that it should be a red after Galese brought Santos down. And Santos of course was the last man, and Galese clearly should have got a red card for denial of goal scored opportunity. But when I look on the replay on that, I feel like this one was the right call, because it definitely looked like there was well, there wasn't a defender in the vicinity, but it with the way that Galese kind of brought down Santos there near the right side, and that Santos wasn't technically in on goal in that situation, I think it's the right call for the referees to just give it a yellow card. Plus, as I said before, there was an Orlando City player, not on the vicinity, but in an area where I feel like he can definitely get back in time to potentially stop that counterattack, or stop that attacking sequence from the Union. I think that in the end was the right call. But just a couple of minutes later, and actually before I said that, as the time kind of wind down, I thought both teams started getting some bit big chances, and that both of these teams was trying to get that next crucial goal that would determine whether or not if either the Union got killed this game off or Orlando get the equalizer. And then just a couple of minutes after I wrote that, it was a penalty given to the Union after Antonio Carlos brought down Santos down in the box, and also Antonio Carlos got a red card for that. Now, I think Taylor Twellman mentioned this on the broadcast, and I'm just going to reiterate what he said about how, it's a red card, but the thing is, remember that game between the Union and Club America, and remember how the Union, of course, got a penalty, and this was kind of very similar play to what we saw in this one compared to that game the Union play against Club America. So why in the world in this situation the referee gave a red card, whereas in that other game, which was a similar situation, the Club America player only gets a yellow card? And you guys remember when I talked about in the review of that game, I basically said the reason why I don't think that was a red card is because, I think that Club America player at least try to play to get that ball away and try, or no, not get that ball away, but trying to play and trying to get the ball away, but unfortunately he missed that time his challenge. And it seemed like this was kind of similar too, where I feel like Antonio Carlos kind of just was trying to attempt to play for the ball, and he kind of bought down Shabilko in or not Shabilko, but Santos in the box, and then of course I think Taylor 12 also mentioned about the double jeopardy rule, which again, it's getting to a point where when I see this happening, it's hard to now really interpret what exactly is the double jeopardy rule and whether or not if it actually exists in MLS or in the CONCACAF Champions League, because again, we've seen two situations like this where, it's very similar, but one instant there was a yellow card given to a defender, but in the other instant there was a red card given to a defender. So what exactly is it? Is the double jeopardy rule supposed to implement or not? Or if it's a situation where, again, when a defender does play football, does it mean sometimes it could be a red card and sometimes it could be a yellow card depending on which referee it is. But either way, before I go down too deep into that rabbit hole, the Union eventually would capitalize to score on the penalty as Shabilko, of course, slots it home to make it 3-1. And then it looked like it was 4-1 in favor of the Union when Gazdak scored, but the goal, of course, was disallowed for offside. And that time it was rightfully called because Gazdak was about 3 or 4 yards offside there. But in the end, the Union, of course, get a 3-1 win against Orlando City to get themselves back above the red line. As the shots in this one, 13 shots compared to 9 that Orlando City has, 8 shots on goal compared to 4 that Orlando City has, 2 shots off target compared to 1 that Orlando City has, 4 shots out of block compared to 3 that the Union has, and possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that Orlando City has in this game. And for Orlando, there has to be a lot of concern right now. And I know some might even tempted to be in panic mode with the way that this team have lost 3 in a row, but I think there's got to be a lot of concern with the way that losing now 3 in a row and knowing the fact that they still have 2 more games doing this gauntlet of a run where they have to go on the road to play against Nashville and the New England Revolution, and knowing that they're not actually that safe in terms of the playoff standings. I mean, yes, they're still in 4th place, but when you look at the standings in the Eastern Conference, there started to be a little bit, but once again, a logjam, not only between the 6th through 9th position, but all the way going up to the 4th position, where Orlando City is only 4 points above the red line. And knowing the fact that the teams around them have been red hot lately, and it seems like they've been winning every single week, and Orlando has been losing for these past 3 games, and if they do lose those 2 games against Nashville and New England on the road, there could be a chance that Orlando City could be out of the playoff line by the end of it, and that would be just unthinkable a couple of months ago, and really throughout the season, where Orlando has just been so comfortable above the red line and has been in the top 4 consistently, and now because of this bad run that they had, and probably one of the worst time to have your bad run of the season leading up to the playoff race, Orlando City could be in deep trouble if they don't sort this thing out with them going on this losing streak. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is going to be the Portland Timbers versus LAFC. So this was definitely a game of tons of chances for both teams. That for majority part of it, a lot of missed opportunity for both team. I mean, I know that kind of doesn't make sense, but to make it kind of just clear is that the Portland Timbers just took enough of their opportunity compared to LAFC, where yeah, this is going to be one that they're going to be thinking about as a huge miss opportunity and well, yeah, a huge missed opportunity to potentially keep up with teams around them, and also the fact that those missed chances come back to haunt them of getting no points out of Portland in this one. But in the second minute, Spria puts it wide from close range before Blanco puts it high from long range just 2 minutes later, and I thought the Timbers kind of got off to a strong start in this game, but there was then a scramble in the Timbers box that led to Cifuentes trying to kind of capitalize on that one, but the shot was blocked away before Jimmy Chara hits the side netting as he went through on goal. And then on the other end, Brian Rodriguez puts it high from close range, and both teams was getting big opportunity to score the opening goal. And not long after I wrote that, we did get our opening goal of the game. It's Darren Asprilla scoring in the 21st minute to make it 1-0 in favor of the Portland Timbers, but that lead unfortunately would not last long because in the 26th minute, a penalty was given to LAFC, and this was kind of a rare play that was called a penalty, where LAFC had a free kick opportunity, and as that free kick was struck the wall, it actually hit Blanco's hand, and there's not a lot of time we've seen where when the ball struck the wall, that referee would call a handball on one of the player in the wall that struck that. But when you look on this sequence, yeah, it definitely looked like Blanco as he turned toward his back. I mean, you always teach when you turn towards his back, make sure you stay your hand tucked in and not really kind of trying to make it into an outstretched position. And I thought in this instance, yes, Blanco's hand was kind of in the tuck position, but not in tuck enough in terms of that position where when the ball hits his hand, the referee was just kind of weighted off. And also the other thing that I also want to mention in terms of this play is originally the referee said it was a handball and a penalty kick was given, and then obviously if there is a way to overturn that, it has to be clear and obvious, and I thought in this instance it was not clear and obvious, and therefore LAFC of course were rightfully so given the penalty, which Orengo was able to take advantage of it, and the game was all tied at 1 apiece in the 27th minute. But it looked like the Timbers were able to retake the lead just 1 minute later, but Romero was able to deny Blanco after just a bad turnover at the back for LAFC. And then after that, the game kind of started to become a little bit scrappy. I mean, I talked about there was tons of chances in the first 28 minutes, but then really for the last 15 minutes or so, or really for the rest of the first half, there was really nothing going on. Like the game all of a sudden just kind of becomes scrappy, and neither team really create much going forward, and we do head to halftime with both teams tied at 1 apiece. Now in the second half and in the 46th minute, boy oh boy, if this one went in, this is definitely going to be the goal of the week. Like Cifuentes just literally, he actually didn't try to chip this one, but he literally hit this one as hard as he can from 40 yards out, and it basically struck the post. Like, that was just an incredible strike from Cifuentes, and like I said, if that one went in, yeah, that is going to be the goal of the week. I mean, as much as I know Atlanta fans will try to dispute and try to outstuff the vote, don't estimate LAFC fans. They can sometimes outstuff the votes in terms of the goal of the week contention, and you can bet that if Cifuentes does score that goal, LAFC fans is going to try their best to stuff the vote away from Atlanta, trying to vote Ezekiel Barco free kick as the goal of the week. But there was no doubt that LAFC, I thought, started the second half the better team. But that being said, Asprilla did have an opportunity to retake the lead for the Timbers and get his second goal, but his shot that actually took a deflection, it goes wide of the post. Then Mora tried to do an acrobatic shot that just missed wide in the 58th minute before Clark was able to deny Rodriguez from close range. And just like the first half, both teams was getting some opportunity to score the go-ahead goal, and it should have been the go-ahead goal in the 63rd minute when Cifuentes, yeah, he's going to be thinking about this one all night, as he just missed an absolute sitter from 6 yards out. Like, he literally had an empty net to shoot from that range, and with how good Sifu has been this season for LAFC, you would expect him to put that ball into the back and then 10 out of 10 times. But for whatever reason, he missed that one, and that turns out to be a huge miss for LAFC, because 4 minutes later, they concede on the other end. And it's for Shive, the one that scores what would be the winning goal for the Timbers in the 67th minute, before Rodriguez puts it wide from close range in the 77th minute. They did mention that the Timbers have conceded 10 goals this season in the last 15 minutes. So despite the fact that I said before, I thought the Portland Timbers this season has done a little bit better job compared to last year, where, last year it seems like every single time when there's a tight game late in this one, they always find a way to blow leads and have problem closing out games, and I kind of give them credit this season. They've done a little bit better job, and in some way they have, but it's still not good enough in terms of the way that they still have had those old habits. And they also mentioned that's actually the second most goals in the last 15 minutes in the entire of MLS. So yeah, it's still not good enough for the Timbers in terms of the fact that they still have those nervy moments where they gave up goals late and have problem in terms of trying to close out games. But in the 86th minute, it looked like they didn't have to worry about that, because Felipe Mora thought that he killed the game and gave the Timbers all 3 points when he scored the goal. But unfortunately, the goal was disallowed for offside. And I'll tell you what, this was very, very close. Like, when the ball was coming into the box, I think it was Jimmy Chara, the one that was in an offside position. And when I look on the replay, it definitely looked like Chara was level with the last defender. But, I think Stu Holden mentioned the fact that, MLS have this new message to Pro that, any play that needs to be overturned has to be clear and obvious. And when you look on that play, I guess maybe it's not clear and obvious enough, but either way, the goal, of course, was disallowed. And despite the fact that LAFC was really pushing to try to get the equalizer, Portland survived and able to win 2-1 against LAFC. As the shots in this one, 11 shots compared to 14 that LAFC had, 5 shots on goal compared to 2 that LAFC had, 5 shots off target compared to 8 that LAFC had, 1 shot that was blocked compared to 4 that LAFC had, and possession-wise, dead even at 50% for both of these teams. And yeah, it's a big win for the Portland Timbers, where right now, I think their goal right now is not just stay above the red line, but now they're also trying to chase down the top 4, because, as I mentioned earlier on my Saturday review and looking at those Saturday games, with the Galaxy struggling and the fact that they've been dropping points, I think the Timbers are only like 1 point or 2 point away from reaching the top 4. So yeah, things are getting tight in terms of not only the playoff race, but also the race for top 4 in the West. And that I believe that 4th position is now wide open again, where that position, as I said before, is very important, because that's the last spot in terms of at least hosting one home game in the MLS playoffs. But for LAFC, this is a disappointing result, and they miss a chance to potentially get themselves back above the red line. But now moving on into the last game on this board is the Colorado Rapids against the Vancouver Whitecaps, and this was a very frustrating game for the Rapids, because they had a lot of opportunity to win this game, and yet they had to settle for a point against a Whitecaps team that they're definitely going to be the more happier side coming out of this resort. In the 12th minute, Kellen Acosta tagged one from long range that goes wide before the post, denying Barrios in the 14th minute, and Colorado was definitely pushing for the opener early in this game. Galvan puts it high from close range in the 25th minute, before in the 27th minute, the Rapids finally got that elusive opening goal, and it's Danny Wilson scoring from Jack Price to make it 1-0 in favor of the Rapids. And anytime when Jack Price get on the assist chart, it's coming from a corner, and indeed it is. This one was a nice little ball coming into the corner, which Danny Wilson was able to met that one. Kind of a very classic Rapids kind of set piece goal, which is something that they've been very good in these last couple of seasons. But then 5 minutes later, Galvan had a chance to make it 2-0, but he puts it wide from 19 yards out, and Colorado was just all over Vancouver, and I thought this was going to get ugly. But then in the 37th minute, Brian White scoring from Caicedo to tie the game up at Vancouver, and not only the fact that that was completely against the run of play, but you know how Danny Wilson, of course, scored that goal to give the Rapids a 1-0 lead. Yeah, he basically went from a hero to zero moment, where in this instant he just gave the ball away to Caicedo and allowed the Whitecaps to go on the transition. And when you allow the Whitecaps to go on transition, you're in big trouble, because they are very good in terms of that, and it's no surprise they were able to cap off with the equalizer there. Veselinovic then had a chance in the first minute stoppage time, and he kind of had a free header, but just could not quite connect that one enough. But we do head to halftime, despite the fact that the Rapids were by far the better team for the majority of this period. It's tied up at 1 apiece heading into the second half. So we go to the second half, and in the second half, I thought it was a very open game in the first couple of minutes, where both teams was just kind of trying to score the go-ahead goal on the counter. But then in the 55th minute, Lewis puts it high from 17 yards out before Ryan Gold took a shot that took a wicked deflection, but it just go high over the post. And then Cavallini had a chance in the 65th minute, but he just missed wide in the near post. In fact, I don't think that was actually a shot. I think that was more toward a dangerous pass toward the back post, and unfortunately, the player in the back post, I think it was Ryan Gull, he just could not quite toe poke that one in. But then Namely on the other end had a chance from long range, but he puts that one high. Namely, of course, coming back from the Rapids after that knee surgery, and he definitely had a good game in this one and could have score a goal for this Rapids team. But I also thought that this game, of course, was up for grabs, as both teams was getting opportunity. Yarbrough had to deny Cavallini in the 68th minute before Barrios puts it wide from close range in the 80th minute. And then on the other hand, Dahome hits it straight to Yarbrough, as he had a good look at goal before Crepeau has to deny Shinyashiki, and then both Namely and Estevez had opportunity on the second and third try on that same sequence, but all of their follow-up shot was blocked by a Whitecaps defender. And then Namely had a chance in the 88th minutes to put it wide, or had a chance from long range, but he puts it wide. And then literally as at the death of this game, Acosta had a chance to walk it off and give the Rapids a dramatic winner, but Crepeau was able to just gather that one, as Acosta was trying to toe poke that one in. And in the end, it's a 1-1 draw in this game, as the shots in this one, 23 shots compared to 9 that the Whitecaps had, 5 shots on goal compared to 4 that the Whitecaps had, 13 shots off target compared to 2 that the Whitecaps had, 5 shots that was blocked compared to 3 that the Whitecaps had, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that the Whitecaps has in this game. And again, it's another very frustrating result for the Rapids that has kind of started to go on a bit of a slump, as they have gone 3 games without a win. But the good news is they're still in a very good position, where I don't think they're going to fall out of the top 3. But that being said, you know, they have missed a lot of opportunity to try to get that top spot, and maybe have missed that opportunity, because I expect Seattle and Sporting KC is going to try to run away with it. But whereas for the Vancouver Whitecaps, this was a huge point for them, because not a lot of team is able to go to Colorado this season and get a point on the road, and they did exactly that to keep themselves in the playoff race in the Western Conference, and actually leapfrog the Quakes now and jump back to the 9th position in the Western Conference. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of the Sunday game. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these 4 games? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.